Ayan Atmanas Te Vichayasi Malaryateshan Mukena Alatrashe Baba Team Antara Team Dure Bandhum Soshasi Kanchandamba Dharma Vacha Kachibadre Nayam Atmanaste Rajasasi Malari Sanmukina Alakshari Bhavatim Antaradim Dure Bodham Sochachi Kanchandamba Dharma Uvacha Kachid Badre Namayam Atmanaste Vichayasi Malakti Shanmukina Alakshaye Bhavatim Antaradim Dure Bandhum Sochachi Chantambamba Dharma Uvacha Kachid Badre Namayan Atmanaste Vichayasi Malatite Shanmukina Alakshaye Bhavatim Antaradim Dure Bandhum Sochachi Kanchandamba
Sochasi Kanchanamba
Dharma Uvacha Kachid Badre Namayam Atmanaste
Kachid Badre Namayan Atmanaste
Vichayasi Mlayita Shanmukena
Vichayasi Malatite Shanmukina
Alakshaye Bhavatim Antaradim
Alakshaye Bhavatim Antaradim
Dure Bandung Shochasi Kanchanamba
Dure Bandhum Sochachi Kanchandamba
Dharma Uvacha Kachid Badre Namayam Atmanaste
Kachid Badre Namayam Atmanaste
Vichayasi Mlayate Shanmukena
Vichayasi Malatite Shanmukina
Alakshaye Bhavati Mantaradim
Alakshaye Bhavatim Antaradim
Dure Bandhum Shochasi Kanchanamba
Dure Bandhum Sochasi Kanchandamba
Dharma Uvacha Kachit Badre Namayam Atmanaste
Kachid Badre Namayan Atmanaste
Vichayasi Simlayate Sanmukena
Vichayasi Malatite Shanmukina
Alakshaye Bhavatim Antaradim
Alakshaye Bhavatim Antaradim
Dure Bandhum Shochasi Kanchanamba
Dure Bandhum Sochasi Kanchandamba
Dharma
Uvacha
Kachid Badre Namayam Atmanaste
Kachid Badre Namayam Atmanaste
Vichayasi Mlayate Shanmukena
Vichayasi Malatite Shanmukina
Alakshaye Bhavatim Antaradim
Alakshaye Bhavatim Antaradim
Dure bandhum shochasi kanchanamba.
Dure bandhum sosachi kanchandamba.
Dharma uvacha
Dharma uvacha.
Kachid bhajena mayam atmanaste
Kachit padre namayam atmanaste.
Vichayasi mayate shanmukena
Vichayasi malate shanmukina.
Alakshaye bhavatim antaradim
Alakshaye bhavatim antaradim.
Dure bandhum shochasi kanchanamba
Dure bandhum sosachi kanchanamba.
Dharma uvacha
Dhamma vacha.
Kachid badre namayam atmanaste
Kachid badre namayam atmanaste.
Vichayasim layate mukena
Vichayasi malatite shanmukena.
Alakshaye bhavatim antaradim
Alakshaye bhavatim antaradim.
Dure bandhum shochasi kanchanaba
Dure bandhum sosachi kanchandamba.
Dharma uvacha
Dharma vacha.
Kachid bhadre nayanam atmanaste
Kachid badre namayam atmanaste.
Vichayasim layate shanmukena
Vichayasi malatite shanmukena.
Alakshaye bhavatim antaradim
Alakshaye bhavatim antaradim.
Dure bandhum shochasi kanchanamba
Dure bandhum sosachi kanchandamba. Anyone else like to chant Maharaj? Anyone online? We'll read the word by word synonyms. What's that? Okay. So Dharma. Let's see. Dharma uvacha. Dharma inquired. Katsit. Whether. Padre. Madam. Anamayam. Quite hale and hearty. Atmana. Self. Te. Unto you. Vichaya asi. Appear to be covered with the shadow of grief. Malayatya, which darkens. Risat, slightly. Mukena, by the face. Alakshaye, you look. Bhavatim, unto yourself. Antaradim, some disease within. Dure, long distant. On whom, friend. So Shasi, thinking of. Kanchana, someone. Amba, oh mother. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Dharma, in the form of a bull, asked, Madam, are you not hale and hearty? Why are you covered with the shadow of grief? It appears by your face that you have become black. Are you suffering from some internal disease? Are you thinking of some relative who is away in a distant place? Purport. The people of this world in this age of Kali are always full of anxieties. Everyone is diseased with some kind of ailment. From the very faces of the people of this age, one can find out the index of the mind. Everyone feels the absence of his relative who is away from home. The particular symptom of the age of Kali is that no family is now blessed to live together. During a livelihood, the father lives at a place far away from the son, or the wife lives far away from the husband, and so on. There are sufferings from internal diseases, separation from those near and dear, and anxieties for maintaining the status quo. These are but some important factors which makes the people of this age always unhappy. Yeah, so this is a nice translation and purport. So the bull, Prabhupada was saying, is the symbol of religion. And then the cow is our mother. So Prabhupada was saying there are 7 mothers. There's the natural paternal mother and the wife of the spiritual master. So he's mentioning so many different mothers. And the cow is also a mother. Like that, she gives so much milk. And so Prabhupada, he was talking about how in the Satya Yuga, everyone were all pious. They were religious. They were Paramahamsas. But now in the age of Kali Yuga, only 1/4, 25%, 1/4 are religious. Prabhupada was saying that in India there are millions of devotees. And he said that Krishna consciousness movement is spreading in other countries also. But still, it's very, very few. It's very, very small. No one's actually interested in religious activities or they're not interested in refraining from sinful life. They don't even know that their life is sinful. They're in ignorance. So Prabhupada was talking about this, how ignorance is bliss. The wise man is ignorant. And then the ignorant person, they're bliss. They're happy. So they're basing more stress on ignorance than they are on knowledge. So that's the pitiful condition of this current age, the age of Kali Yuga. So Prabhupada was saying that they want to go to the moon planet. They're just simply bluffing. Or he said, Swarup Damodar, they said in some paper, it would take some 40 millions of light years to go to the topmost planet, Brahmaloka. So he said that you'll be 40 million years finished. He said, who can go there? Who could live that long? I know that they were proposing going into space for a long period of time, and they would they'd have so many different generations. So you're talking about 40 millions of years in space like that. So that's a real problem. And he was saying even in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna mentions quite a few places that you can go to the higher planetary systems or any other planets in the material universe, but still you'll find the same problems: birth, death, disease, and old age. Prabhupada is saying there's a longer duration of life and more beautiful, more facilities for sense gratification or happiness. He was talking about how on Siddhaloka they all have cities. There's like 8 cities, becomes bigger than the biggest, smaller than the smallest. You can float in the air. So I said they're more advanced than human beings, that in Siddhaloka they can float in the air like a feather. But then Krishna is saying, but if you think of me, if you worship me, many places in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna states this, even yam yam vapi smaramam. Whatever state of mind one remembers when he quits his body, that state will attain without fail. So that's what Prabhupada was saying. Kirtaniya Sadahar, he is always chanting Hare Krishna mantra. And then you'll naturally remember Krishna at the time of death. So Krishna always just says, those who worship me, who think of me, they come to me. Like that's all Prabhupada is saying. Who wants to go to any other planet in the material universe? The heavenly planets, the devotees don't even want to go there. But you can go to Krishna, you can go to Krishna Loka. So Prabhupada was saying that there's a bit of a problem, that even though in all of the millions of universes, Jagannatha Koti is stated in Brahma Samhita, that there are unlimited planets in each of the universes. So, I was kind of mentioning this, modern scientists, they're taking this one specific solar system as being a universe that has 9 planets and the sun. And then they're looking out, and what they're saying, there's different clusters, different star and planetary systems. But they're saying these as being other universes or other galaxies. But basically, they haven't even penetrated. But Prabhupada was explaining the coverings of the material universe. Each one's thicker. Each universe is covered with a layer of earth and a layer of water. Earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, false ego. And each element is, hundreds of thousands of times thicker than the previous. And then the entire Mahatantra is also similarly arranged in the same way, where it's also covered by the material coverings as well. So there's a real problem that you wouldn't be able to penetrate this even if you were able to go there by a spaceship. Is that you'd have to be a pure spiritual soul to be able to penetrate the material coverings, and then to go to Krishna Loka. So, and Krishna, he guarantees this, that you can go to Krishna Loka. So why go to any other planets within this universe, any other universe, when you can go to Krishna? So Prabhupada was saying, so that's the pitiful plight of this age. They're killing the cow, or even the religious person. He said the priest, they're condoning gay marriage, and that the animals, they have no soul. So he says, but the animals, they have a soul. He's probably saying the symptom of the soul is that it's consciousness. And he was saying that in New Vrindavan, they went to go purchase a new cow, and the cow was crying because they had just taken away her calf, and the calf was already killed. So they purchased this cow. But he said the symptom of soul is consciousness, and the cow was crying. If the cow didn't have any soul, then these symptoms would not have been manifested. So just like here in the material world, everyone's grieving, their relatives are far away, or for work, they have to go far away from the family and even live in another place. So so that's the plight of this age, is that they're simply engaging in ugra karma. There's external sinful activities, developing facilities for sense gratification, eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. That's all. He said, this is like animal life. I know in other places, Prabhupada was saying that in the present age, we're even lower than animals. They're saying this is animal life. The animals, they're wandering around. They're in the street naked. And what is it? It's shamelessly having sex in the streets like that. So you're saying that that real knowledge of religion is for the human being. And that's the special facilities of the human being is knowledge and discretion, to develop our God consciousness, and not live like the animals, shamelessly just going from here to there, just in complete ignorance. So I know Prabhupada said in another place, like, that if the dog goes across the street, against the red light, no one punishes the dog. The dog's not actually really expected to follow the laws because he's a dog. We know that he doesn't have that facility, that discretion, right? But a human being, if the human being goes against the light, on the red light, breaks the law, then he's punishable. He'll get a ticket. He'll get a citation. He'll have to go to the court and pay a fine. So like that. So that's the special prerogative of the human form of life, to become God conscious and end all the problems. Or end all the problems of birth, death, disease, and old age. You still have a lot of time. So I was kind of thinking about a few other things. So does anybody have any questions, or open up comments, or maybe read the next verse? Or yeah, you have a question, comment? You need a microphone.
Hare Krishna. So in the verse, we're hearing that in Kali Yuga, we're in anxiety because we're thinking of our distant relatives. And so how is this why is this? Like, why aren't we able to live so close to our relatives?
Oh, yeah. Your Prabhupada was saying that.
How does Kali Yuga affect that?
Yeah, Prabhupada was saying that too. Yeah, that Sukadeva Goswami, he was discussing the qualities and the symptoms of the present age of Kali. And this is one of the symptoms, that the family can't stay together. So it's a symptom of Kali, right? Plus, not only that, but, the man, he gets a job some other place. Prabhupada was talking about that, how they'll drive over hundreds of miles every day, because I know like people that lived out in, where is it, like Palmdale or Lancaster, Mojave, and they work in Los Angeles. They put in the new freeway. It used to take like 3 hours to drive. Or they'll drive like over 100 miles, over an hour, to go to work and back again. So they work their long hours, 8 hours during the day is a regular work day, but if they work overtime, like that. And then they're going to get back late at night. Prabhupada was talking about how they were getting in the plane and they're taking the flight for 4 hours, 6 hours, each day. And they were saying that one day the small child, he asked his mother, he says, "Who is this man?" She says, "Well, he's your father." The thing is, he left so early in the morning to go to work and came back home after the son had already gone to bed, and the son has never seen him, never knew who he was. Like that, was so busy working. So yeah, this is a symptom of the age of Kali. And Prabhupada was talking about how they're traveling like that, long distances to go to work, and the family never sees them. Like that. So yeah, he was saying, Sukadeva Goswami said this is an age, a symptom of the present age of Kali Yuga. So that it's an ocean of faults. Prabhupada is saying not that we just have some faults, but it's an ocean of faults. So this ocean of faults can be remedied by becoming God conscious, by becoming Brahminical culture, becoming Krishna conscious. Like that, and that's the special prerogative of this age, is chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, as Prabhupada is stating that Sukadeva Goswami had recommended, is that one can relieve all the problems of anxiety, birth, death, disease, old age, refrain from sinful activities, adopting the pious life of simplicity, tolerance, cleanliness, truthfulness, mercifulness. In this age, there's no mercifulness. Everything is all topsy-turvy. They're like that. They're killing the animals and killing the cows and preparing themselves for not very good, very lowly lives in the future. Take births as animals in the 8,400,000 species of life. There's, I was listening to some lectures, that's what Prabhupada was saying is the danger of going into the lower species. Not that it's a hard struggle for existence and one living entity is food for another, like that, but it's also, one can take birth on the ranches, on the poultry farms, and to be slaughtered, over and over and over again for human consumption. So not only that, but like they're gearing up for war. So the wholesale, what Prabhupada say, killing wholesale killing. They say they developed the nuclear bombs for, as a way to end all wars. It's like, okay, don't do any conflict. We've got the atom bombs. We'll drop the atom bombs that cause devastation. Prabhupada was saying that Hitler and the Nazi parties had the atomic weapons, but they didn't use it because they knew the far-reaching effects of the devastation and the radiation poisoning and everything that it causes. Specific mutations and wrecking the environment, like that. So he said they developed it, but they didn't use it. So it was used in Japan. They were warned to surrender. They're pretty relentless with those kamikaze pilots crashing into aircraft carriers and stuff. They were relentless like that. So they were telling them to surrender. We've got actually it's a hydrogen bomb. They said, we have the hydrogen bomb, we'll use this against you. So they didn't surrender, so they used it. So we were able to see the devastation firsthand, exactly what this causes. That's where they developed a macrobiotic diet, after the radiation effects and everything, to try to eat healthy, try to become or free from radiation, like that, to protect themselves. So that was developed in Japan right after World War II because of this. So, there's real devastating effects. Prabhupada says wholesale murder, but that's because of killing all the animals. So basically, the persons who are responsible are the person who actually kills the animal, the person who sells the animal, the person who cooks it, the person who eats it. So it's not so much as just, the person who's eating it, but also involved in the other processes of the killing and the sale. Prabhupada was saying that if one wanted to eat meat in India, it was very discreet. He said you'd have to go 100 miles away. No Hindu family allows eating meat, or eating meat in the house. I think he was even saying the Muslims, they didn't allow it, but they had, some sort of facilities outside of the house where they would kill and cook, a goat or a cow like that, but it was always kept away. So he says it was not out in public. It was always discreet. So you'd have to go 100 miles away to go to a meat shop, or go to some rascal hotel that serves meat like that and be discreet about it. But he said even in India, 10,000 cows are being killed daily. So he says, what to speak of all the other Western countries that this is being done. It's on a very, very large scale. I don't know how many thousands of supermarkets there are, meat departments and meat markets clear across the United States, and they always have all the stock. They always have everything like that. So, it just gets your little spoonful of boiled vegetables with your butter and salt and pepper. The main course is some carcass. So it's actually already in a state of decomposition. When a person gets it, when it's served, they spray it with some ink, and that's not blood in the container, that it makes it look fresh like that. And it's already in a state of decomposition. And so then this is what your body is storing up, something that is still decomposing like that. That's why, like, you see these people, they look like hell boiled over a few times. Their skin, they lost their complexion. It's all kind of, stuff kind of hanging on their big giant wrinkles, and so it starts hanging off really bad. And talk about meatheads, man, you can't even reach them. It's like they're dense. It covers your consciousness. You become very, very dense, and it covers your consciousness. So when we're talking about a demoniac government, most of the people, they're innocent. They don't know about these things. They think this is absolutely natural, but it's very, very bad for you. And it's very, very sinful. And it's going to make you go to hell and go take birth in lower species again. And then bad situations in animal life, also being slaughtered and killed, as well as a war killing all the humans. But the persons who actually are demons, and they actually know the effects of taking intoxication and eating meat, that this is their religious life, and they're promoting it, and as a way of control, like that. You go to hell, but we control you in this lifetime. You're our what is it, the cruel servant or the cruel master. So that's real demons, that they actually really know that these are the four pillars of sinful life: illicit sex, meat eating, intoxication, and gambling. So they're making so many different facilities for sex life, so many different contraceptions and contraceptives, and what do you call it? They call it family planning. They give it a nice name, but it's an abortion clinic. So they make all these facilities and license alcohol, and they know it ruins a person. And a person knows that they're sick, but they can't stop. They're being slaughtered and killed. Yeah, you had a question or comment, or? Oh, okay, yeah, you had a question or comment? Yeah, okay. You have a microphone?
Yeah, in India, they're just living amongst the cows. They get to actually see how they behave, so that way, it's obvious that they're sanctified and they're holy. Whereas here, like, they're kind of hidden from us, and we don't have a relationship with them, the vast majority of us. So, other places in the world where that doesn't happen, I think it's a lot easier to fall into, these patterns unknowingly, these sinful activities. But I had a comment in relation to what Mataji was asking, if that's all right.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention, I think Prabhupada's talking about without Krishna consciousness when he's talking about family, like Prahlad Maharaj, for instance. He calls it Atmapatam, like family life. It's the killer of the soul without Krishna consciousness. He relates it like a blind well covered by grass, just an endless well kind of covered over. And he said, if you fall into it, surely your Krishna consciousness will be compromised. You know, so these family relationships, they're pretty much just on the bodily platform and on some kind of superficial platform. You know, so he calls it the killer of the soul, falling into this without Krishna consciousness. Whereas if you do take up the Grihastha ashram and you put Krishna first in all your relationships in your family, then you can use that as a vehicle to realize Krishna.
Right, yeah, that's allowed. The Grihastha ashram is allowed. Prabhupada said Grihastha ashram, not Grihamedi ashram. But the instructions are for us also, even in Krishna consciousness. In the Grihastha ashram, it's still kind of like a dark well. But those instructions are actually really for us. But the prerogative is to assist each other in God consciousness or Krishna consciousness, you know, and it's not a facility for sense gratification like the Grihamedi ashram. You know, they're simply just, actually, they're self-interested, and then extended selfishness would be, you know, whatever they do for their families. In Kali Yuga, I know my father and my mother would sell the food stamps, but you don't sell your food stamps for money. That's just it. That I found out later. You know, or my dad, he made, you know, the construction, the money that I should have really made, but he spent it all on himself at the bar and his friends, you know. And it actually go like 3 weeks, and it was in a blackout. He thought it was his dream last night. Like that when he comes out of it, you know. So they were neglecting their family. You know, that's really what's really going on. They made enough sufficient money. He didn't even want to pay the $17 for my stepbrother to graduate high school. He thought that was completely ridiculous. Now he went 12 years through school, and now you're charging $17 or you can't go to graduation. He just gets a certificate of diplomacy. Like that. I mean, you're talking about somebody who's really stingy. You know, there was a case of a Brahmana in Srimad Bhagavatam where there was a person like that. He had ample wealth, but he didn't spend the money. He didn't maintain his family properly, and they were disgusted with him. So there was the plight of this Brahmana. Then at one point, he loses all his money that he had amassed, and he didn't even maintain his family. They were disgusted with him, and he went away. They made him leave home like that. So he was lamenting in this way that, you know, but it's a chance to become God conscious or Krishna conscious. So, you know, we respect that ashram, the brahmacharya ashram, the grihastha ashram, the vanaprastha and sannyas. So not only that, but we need God conscious children. You know, right now the case is vana samskara. You know, this world simply becomes a hell. You know, you've seen, what was it? It was the riots and fires. What were the governors and the mayors and stuff? They're saying, oh, no problem here. We got to contain. We don't need any help from the government, military, or the Coast Guard or civil, what do they call some sort of civil, I guess it's the Coast Guard, national security or something. You know, because they're thinking of declaring martial law and stepping in. It was right after the COVID epidemic broke out, right? But it's every major city where these riots and fires and looting, and the homicide rate totally increased. But they're saying, oh yeah, no problem here. You know, we've got it contained. So, you know, that's the Varna Samskara, you know, the unwanted population, these rascals, these fools, they're just simply up to no good. You know, they don't have any good qualities. So they said they're up to no good and have no good qualities like that. So the world just becomes a hell. Prabhupada was talking about that. Oh, I heard it. It's like, you know, after your birth and after you're growing up and, you know, you're going through school and everything, then certain tendencies kind of seem to kind of manifest, but the demoniac tendency of the actual person, the Vana Samskar, will fully become manifest, when the person is grown up, is mature, then, he's a complete rascal, a complete criminal, and they don't care, especially they're not interested in God consciousness or Krishna consciousness, they're in denial and they're in illusion. Their knowledge is stolen by illusion, like that, and they don't even know that they're in illusion, or whatever explanations they have for life, they can't really explain it. They have no respect for life, they think that at the end, ultimately, there's actually nothing. You just go to sleep, and there's going to be zero. But they can explain that to the Yamadutas. They can understand that again made another mistake and wasted another human form of life. They're extremely fearful like that. So God consciousness is the best prerogative. A person can become purified of these demoniac tendencies by accepting the principles of God consciousness, Krishna consciousness. So everyone is allowed. We don't say, oh, you're a demon, you can't be a devotee. We're asking people to become a devotee. Please seriously consider this information. Make your home a temple. Raise God-conscious children, not like the cats and dogs or the animals, or even worse. It's like, my mother had like so many different miscarriages. And my brother, he's all messed up. His hair grew in like all different directions. He couldn't comb his hair right. There were some people in our in our apartment building, they'd give him a permanent and he had a natural. So that was good for him because his hair was just all over the place, all messy. And his internal organs don't work right. I guess he needs some sort of tissue transplant or something. The doctor told him not to be eating red meat. He'd have to have a glossoscopy or something. He's got problems and he's an idiot. He's a first-class #1 jerk. A rascal. I mean, he's a complete idiot. You can't reach him. He's totally dense. He was straight F student in school with over 160 days absent, and he didn't graduate the 6th grade or junior high. Got his GED in the Navy. The captain took his test for him. So these are the kind of rascals that we're kind of talking about, everybody's got their secrets or their family secrets, or everybody's kind of got their idiotisms, like that. So if you become God conscious, then you can become restored to sanity. That's what Krishna was saying in Bhagavad Gita. That the principles of Bhagavad Gita are sanity. And everything. That's just a complete runaway, insane society. The leaders, if they're like crash driving a car, they're crash driving the planet into hellish conditions like that. And then they don't know why. Everything's all Band-Aid. Was it patchwork, Band-Aid remedial measures? It's got leaks. It doesn't work. It causes more problems. Like that, problems after problems after problems have problems. But for millions of years, there hasn't been any problems. There was always a system in place. Now they're running out of things, running out of the petrol, and the soil isn't producing well, and now there's drought and energy crisis. They're saying in California, each person could have 55 gallons of water. I'm not sure what the period of time is if that's daily or weekly or monthly. And then they're saying, they put a ban on gasoline engine motor vehicles, but they're telling you not to charge your car. I think they're actually saying don't charge your car from like 6 p.m. to 8 a.m., like overnight. They're having energy grids. So you can charge up your car during some other time during the day. Yeah, so, it's problems after problems after problems. It's really idiotic. So, Krishna consciousness makes sense. The karmis, they don't make any sense. Anything but senseless. I think that's what Prabhupada said a lot of times. They just called it senseless, like that. So, yeah, were there any other questions or comments or points of discussion? Okay, so we'll end class there. Shrimad Bhagavatam class ki jai.